when I first started this journey here on the Zapata Brand podcast, I never thought I would be able to interview some of the best boxers, best trainers in the entire world, and have left legacies in the boxing industry. Today, my guest is no different. James Buddy Mcgirt. He actually grew up and boxed out of the same area on the East Coast as I did. But we do have a lot of people that we know in common. I saw him rise as a contender to world champion, then to go on and embark on an unbelievable training career. He's one of the best trainers in the world, and he joins us here on the podcast. So sit back and watch. James Buddy Mcgirt.
Coming up next on the Zapata Brand podcast, he's considered to be one of the best boxing trainers in the world, training multiple champions like Arturo Gatti and Antonio Tarver. He was Trainer of the Year in 2002 and has won multiple titles in 2 different weight classes. He's a Hall of Fame boxer and a true legend in the sport of boxing. The Zapata Brand welcomes James Buddy Mcgirt.
Buddy Mcgirt, thanks for coming to the podcast.
No problem.
Real quickly, Buddy, believe it or not, we have a lot in common, more than you think. We met in 2003, but you obviously didn't know who the hell I was. But we met, but I've always followed your career. And
Okay.
You're more of an East Coast guy now, West Coast a little bit more. Are you still in Florida? Are you in Florida or in LA now?
I'm still in Florida. Right now, I'm in the UK.
The UK,
I live in Florida.
Live in Florida. Yeah, because I when someone told me you were out in LA, I said LA, because Azizo told me he had met you out in LA.
That's where we met, yes.
And you got the hell out of there, huh?
You know what it was, man? It's crazy. A guy that opened the gym, we were partners, and then he died.
Oh.
So, there was no need to stay there. I was training kid Johnny Beck. I was still training Johnny Beck. So when he would fight, I would go there, stay in a hotel. But then we parted ways, so
Okay. So real quickly, give me a little bit of your background as an amateur. I really haven't heard much about your amateur career. Obviously,
amateur career, back when I was fighting amateur in the 70s, they used to have a smoker show. You know what I mean? It's like you go to the amateur show and they ask you how much you weigh, and they look at someone and say they weigh the same as you, and bam, you had a fight.
Right.
And then like in the late 70s, like 79, 80, when I was 15, 16, that's when you had to have the AAU card, and you have to have this, you had to have that, and so, but my amateur career was okay. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have like no outstanding amateur career, to be honest with you. I had asthma as a kid, so if you made it past the first round with me, you had me. I was done.
Okay. Now, did you fight in the gloves in New York Daily News Golden Gloves or no?
Yes, I made it. It's crazy. I lost in the gloves, and it's quarterfinals both times, and I lost to 2 brothers, one year and one the next year. The last name was Mejia, Mejia.
Wow, sticks out in your mind, huh?
Oh yeah, I never forget it.
So after you do the glove, now usually Daily News Golden Gloves are the most prestigious throughout the country.
Yes.
Okay, obviously not the nationals, but still, when did you decide? Okay, in '82 you're going to turn pro. We're going to take it from there.
I just turned 18. My father just passed away. Girlfriend was pregnant. I was in high school, so I figured if I turn pro, I can make money quick. I figured, when you're young, you think a professional boxer's getting paid a lot of money. So I turned pro, and then I had my first fight March 2nd, 1982. It was a Tuesday night. I took it on for like 5 days' notice, and I got $200, and I fought a draw. I fought an undefeated kid named Lamont Hayes, coach. He was 3-0, 4-0. And I fought him in the New Jersey at the Embassy Hall in North Bergen, New Jersey.
Yeah. And so when you had were you managed by yourself and decided I'm going in?
No, you know what? This guy named Lou Caravella.
Okay.
Lou Caravella was managing me, and he worked on Wall Street. And the guy he knew on Wall Street knew Al, and they was looking for. He goes, "They're looking for someone to fill in on this show." And that's how I got my
Mhm.
first pro fight, and that's how I met Al.
And Al became your manager, obviously. But it
Later
was
on, because Lou's brother-in-law Stewie was the guy that partnered up with Al.
okay.
Lou didn't like Al. Lou didn't like Al. So Lou stood up. Lou bit the bullet for a few years, but then he just walked away because he couldn't stand Al. They couldn't get along.
Yeah, Al was a little outspoken.
Yeah, so was Lou. So,
Boy,
yeah,
getting them
so
a little bit wild.
yeah,
And you trained at Bufano's, am I correct?
yes. But the first gym I trained at was the Hoboken Boxing Gym. It was in Hoboken, New Jersey, on
Mhm.
Washington Street.
Okay.
And I trained there for a year, and then we went to Bufano's,
Mhm.
and that was my home, man. I love Bufano's. The
Yeah,
building's
Bufano's.
still there.
I don't know if it is. Is
Yeah,
it
it
still
is.
there?
It is.
It is. Holy
I
cow!
went by there a year ago. It's still there. The building. It's not a
I
boxing
went.
gym.
Okay. It's
It's not a
upstairs.
boxing gym, but the building is still there.
Okay, I was referring to the boxing gym. I didn't know if it was still there because when I went there, I'd gotten there when I was 16 or 17, and you had just left, and they had said, "Oh, Buddy Mcgirt was just here," and that was when.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's funny. They had apartments. Dom owned the whole building.
Yep.
Dom Bufano.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the electricians union on this downstairs, and next to the gym was apartments, and he owned all that.
Yeah, he was
I mean,
he was into the boxing. Did he manage the kids or no?
Don Bufano had Chuck Wepner, and Rocky Mick is Don Bufano.
Okay, yeah.
That's Don Bufano because Don Bufano had Chuck Wepner.
And Chuck would stop by there every now and then. I'd seen him there a
Oh,
couple
yeah.
times. He was there.
Yeah, he would stop every now and then. He'd check on Dom. Everybody loved Dom. Dom would curse you out, though. Dom would curse you out, man.
He certainly would.
The older he got, well, I don't got to tell you.
Yeah.
You know the key to dealing with Dom was you buy him a sandwich.
I was so broke I couldn't buy myself a sandwich at that point. So
Even though he had no teeth, he liked meatball heroes.
Yeah.
And you buy him that, it take him about 3 hours to eat it, but he was his best friend for those 3 hours.
Did you train there your entire career?
Yes, I trained there until 95 when Dom Bufano, his kids put him in a home.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's funny. Dom, God bless him. God bless him. He wound up at the Holland Tunnel. He was getting dementia. So the next day he comes to the gym. He goes, "Buds, baby, they moved the fucking gym." I said, "What are you talking about?" They wanted him to pay the toll, and Dom was like, "I'm not paying the toll to get to my gym." So they pulled him over, and then his kids went and got him. Then they brought him to the gym the next day. He like,
Wow.
"Buds, baby, they try to charge me $4. Those cocksuckers."
Yeah, he was definitely a character. I mean, at that time, again, I was young. I was 16 or 17 at that time. But I remember, obviously, Buddy Mcgirt was the guy who came out of that gym. I distinctly remember that.
He always had that sweater on. He always had that sweater. It could be 100 degrees.
Yep.
It could be 100 degrees or 10 below. Don Bufano had that sweater on.
Yes. Yeah, and in Jersey amateur boxing, he was respected a lot. They did respect him a lot. He was a little.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, they did. They really did. Because I remember when I went to Jersey City, Jimmy Dupree brought me over there. I saw Jimmy Dupree, and he brought me over there, and that's how I initially met the Fano gym there.
Right.
Jimmy was also a good guy there.
I love Jimmy, man. I love Jimmy.
I lost contact with him. Is he still around?
No, he passed away.
He did. I thought he did.
Okay. He passed away, yeah.
Yeah. So after you turn pro, you have a first couple fights, you run off. I don't know how many you ran off in a row.
29.
29. And it wasn't until you met Frankie Warren that you got your first loss.
Right.
How was it fighting Frankie Warren?
Well, the first time I fought him,
he was 20-0 at that time.
I was kind of overwhelmed. I had never fought someone with such big a name in their hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And for 4 or 5 rounds, I was just like, what the hell's going on? Then the 6th round, I was like, yo, this guy's kicking your ass. So I snapped out of it, but it was too late. I was coming on late in the fight, but it was too late. But it was the best, I can honestly say, the best thing that happened to me. Because
Right.
after the fight, everybody was crying, everybody was upset. Managers, my family, my mom, everybody. So the hotel was about, I would say, half a mile from the arena where we fought.
Mm-hmm.
I walked back to the hotel by myself. From the arena, I walked to the hotel. I said, I don't want nobody to be, I'm going to go by myself. I don't want to be bothered. When I got to the hotel, Al was sitting in the lobby. He goes, okay, what are you going to do? I said, give me another fight. I'm ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? I said, give me a fight. Now, this was in July.
Right.
I said, give me a fight. I said, I'm going to go home. I'm going to chill for a week or so, and I'm going to be back in the gym. And then I went home 2 weeks later. He called me, said, you fight in September. I fought Sal Mamby.
Yeah. And that was, which just surprises me. Well, you know what? It doesn't in a way. But looking back at your career and what you've done, and I don't know if I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. You were like a loner, like going to the gym. You traveled 3 hours daily there and back.
Yeah.
To go to a gym.
6 hours, maybe, sometimes 7, depending on the Long Island Railroad.
And that's what I'm saying. But here you are, you lose your fight. You think you'd want to be around as many people as you could.
No.
And you wanted to be a loner.
Yeah.
Is that
because I all those years I've always, those that was like after 4 years of travel. But as a kid, I found more pleasure out of being alone. It might sound crazy. Even when I was a kid, I didn't mind being by myself. I mean, I was better. I had a better frame of mind. I could. I just felt more. I felt better by myself. I just didn't need to be around a lot of people.
Did you feel that helped you or hurt you in boxing?
I think it helped me a whole lot. I think it helped me in life. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it gave me time to really understand things around me, the people around me, what was going on. You know what I mean? Right from when you got people around you, everyone's in your ear whispering. So and sometimes you don't know. You don't know, like, okay, should I listen to this person? Maybe this person's right. Maybe that person's right. But if you sit back by yourself and watch everybody, you figure it out. And that's what I did.
And it's funny. I think you take that into your training too, because I see when I watch you and I watch people hitting the bags that you're working with. I saw Maureen Shea. I'm a good friend of Maureen Shea, and I know you work with her. And you're very particular about certain things. Like you sit back and watch, and then hey, do this, and you're the type of trainer you want it done now.
Yeah,
right then. Don't wait for later. Now, that person has to trust you, and that's something I think you got a very good keen eye for to be a trainer. It's obvious.
I learned that from the guy who trained me. His name was Dominic Amorosa.
Okay,
old Italian guy. And when I hit the heavy bag, he would sit there and watch everything I did, and he would be smoking a cigarette at the same time.
Times have changed, buddy. Times have changed.
You know what I mean? And he smoked that cigarette, and I better not say anything about that cigarette smoke. I just had to deal with it. And he sit there and he watched me over, and he correct me over and over and over again until I got it right. I mean, sometimes I do 10, 12 rounds on the back. And then there'd be days I'd be going to the gym, I'd be on the train, I'd be like, damn, gotta deal with it again. But it helped me in the long run.
And you have asthma, and you were able to go through that.
As a kid, I had asthma. Believe it or not,
okay.
Boxing has helped me overcome the asthma. Like when I first started boxing, I couldn't even do road work as a kid. You know what I mean? If I run like a block or two, I was out of it.
Wow.
But eventually, when I got like 16, 17, I started getting better. I was like, oh, shit.
Okay. So now, as you're going through your career, you beat Frankie Warren, you're moving on up the ladder there. And I remember you fighting a guy from Pennsylvania area, Mcgirt Taylor. Mcgirt was a tremendous fighter at that time. At the time, yes. 19-0, great fighter. What was before you went into that ring with someone like Mcgirt, who you knew had a pedigree, fast hands. Now you have a great jab. What was your mentality going into that?
I going into that fight, I said to myself, I gotta try to get him out early because I had an ear infection
Okay.
and I was on medication. And I said, buddy, we got to get him out early. We can't be in there for 12 rounds. So I came out early and tried to get him out, but he was stubborn. He didn't listen. You know what I mean?
Well, he was a
Yes,
fast
it was tough.
strict
I was like,
fighter.
damn, man. After like the fifth or sixth round, I was done. And after the
Mhm,
fight, my good friend Larry Hazard sat me down. He goes, don't you ever in your life do that again.
mhm.
I mean, fight when you're on medication like that. He goes, you out of your mind. What's wrong with you? Like Larry Hazard really dug it. Me and Larry are really cool. Like I love Larry Hazard.
Larry was a
He
good
really
guy.
He really sat me down and gave me a lecture. He said, little brother, don't ever in your life do that again.
Now,
I mean,
did you want to take the fight, or you just said, I signed a contract, I have to take it?
that's what I felt because we were supposed to fight earlier, and I had tendonitis.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you get the warning signs not to take the fight, but you're too damn stubborn and stupid, and you go
Mhm.
ahead with it. You know what I mean? So I said, look, I got to try to get him out early. And
Right.
I went at him early and tried to get him out, but like I say, he was stubborn. He didn't want to listen.
Right. And again, Meldrick was a very you can't go into a fight with a Meldrick Taylor at that time. At that
Right.
time, not 100%. You can't.
Exactly.
So
I agree with you.
you didn't give your a chance at that point. You got to be good. So you go through that. Now you work your way back up again, and believe it or not, you fight one of your Olympic partners, Colonel Whitaker. Which that fight was probably the biggest fight at my era. To see
Right.
James Mcgirt, Pernell Whitaker fight, and it was in Madison Square Garden. There, you're fighting a guy who, at that time, was thought to be probably the best pound for pound for years.
Yes,
Uh,
without a doubt.
and
Without a doubt. I was kind of stubborn in a way. When I got injured, I was training to fight Janelle Leone, my mandatory. They kept pushing this mandatory down my throat. And I said, well, let's pay this guy step aside money so I can fight Pernell. They said, no, he won't take it. I'm like, okay, we're fighting on Tuesday night fights. How much could he possibly be making to fight? If we're going to pay him double what he's getting, step aside. But he didn't. Then I got hurt training for that fight. I got hurt, and I went to the. I said, Al, I got to go to the doctor, man. Like I couldn't lift up my arm. So he takes me to a doctor, a friend of his, and the doctor they do all these MRIs and X-rays, and they come to me and say, "Look, kid, you only got tendonitis." I said, I'm not a doctor. I don't know. So for that fight, the last 2.5 weeks, all I did was shadow box, run, and jump rope. I didn't spar. I couldn't hit the bags. I couldn't do nothing.
mhm,
So I get through the Janelle Leone fight, and that's in January.
right.
Now I got to fight Pernell in March.
Okay.
So I go to camp, and they go, look, we got a place for you to go do rehab at. Your shoulder's going to be fine. Your tendonitis, we're going to treat it. So I'm going to rehab, and everything is going well, and training for the fight. We're getting, but I still can't throw my left foot in training. I mean, it's feeling good, but I still can't throw it. So one day, I said to Al, I said, Mom's just not feeling right, man. I was talking to my therapist, to the massage therapist, and she didn't look too confident. He's like, "No, kid, don't listen to her. She don't know what she's talking about." So she goes in. So I leave the gym that day, and I go to therapy, and I see her. Where's Patty at? They said she's in her office. So I'm like, all right. So I'm sitting there waiting and waiting. Damn, what the hell's going on? I go in the back. She's crying. So I'm like, yo, Patty, what's the matter? She goes, nothing. So boom, we're working. Then they say, Patty Castle, Al Serto on line 2. She goes, get back on the phone again. As she's on the phone, I see her crying. I'm like, what the hell is going on, man? So I go there, I see her, Patty, what's happening here, man? She goes, I can't talk to you about it. I said, no, you're going to talk to me about it. I mean, I said, and if you don't tell me what's the problem, I'm going to walk out. And she goes, that was Al, and he told me that I can't say anything negative to you about your arm. If I do again, he's going to call my boss and get me fired. This is 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah. I said, all right. So I don't say anything, I go through the training, go through it. And then like about a week later, I say to her, I said, look, I gotta ask you a question. I want you to be 100% honest with me. She goes, yeah, buddy. I said, my arm is fucked up, ain't it? She said, yeah. She said, you shouldn't be fighting. I mean, she goes, I was told not to say anything negative to you. And she goes, if you repeat this, I'm gonna deny it. I said, I will not repeat it. So now I'm like, shit, I got a week to go for the fight. What do I do? My therapist is telling me I shouldn't be fighting. She told me you need surgery. She goes, whatever MRIs they showed you, it's all bullshit. Your arm is fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, damn, it's a week to go. I got to go through it. I can't pull out now. So now we're going to the weigh-in. I never forget. I remember this shit like it was yesterday, man. We paid the toll at the Lincoln Tunnel. Me and Al's in the limo. We get inside the tunnel because the weigh-in was at night. It was 10 o'clock at night was the weigh-in. We get in the Lincoln Tunnel. He looks at me and goes, hey, kid, if you want to pull out, you can pull out right now if you want. So I said to him, I said, you motherfucker. I said, 2 weeks ago, you had a fucking heart attack. Now you wait till I'm going to the weigh-in to tell me I can pull out now. You know I'm not going to pull out now. I mean, so boom, I go through the fight. I lose the fight, So I got a lawsuit going now against the doctors.
Against the doctors.
Yeah, I have a lawsuit.
Let me ask you this, buddy. And Al was very close to you. Did your relationship suffer after that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had a lawsuit.
But not against Al.
No, against the doctors. So it's going on and on. You know what I mean? So my lawyer calls me one day. No, I had to go give a deposition. I give the deposition. And the other lawyer who was defending the doctors looked at me and says, young man, I got to tell you, you got us. I remember like everything. I couldn't remember the exact date. Like they asked me, but what day did you go here? I says, I don't remember the exact date, but I do remember that at Giant Stadium, they was having a ski sale, half price off all ski wear. And like, they were like, holy shit. Because I was staying at the Meadowlands Hilton.
Okay. Yeah.
So now, a couple weeks go by, my lawyer calls me because, buddy, Al gets his deposition tomorrow. He goes, if he tells the truth, you don't have to fight no more. You be straight for the rest of your life. I go, what? He goes, if Al tells the truth, we got them. You're going to get over 10 million. Boom. He went in there. He went against me.
Al did?
Yeah. Yeah, he took the doctor's side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he took the doctor's side, man.
So obviously at that point, you guys are going to split.
I mean, it was, yeah. It was really fucked up. You know what I mean? And then when I stopped fighting, I was like, this motherfucker, I can't believe he did that to me. And I was like, I mean, and then one day he came to me and he said, kid, I had to go against you. So what do you mean you had to go against me? What the fuck you talking about? He goes, no, the mob was on my ass. I'm like, oh, please, man. Knock it off, man. Come on, man. You didn't want me to get that money, man. Just keep it real. You didn't want me to get that money, man. Because you wasn't getting a cut of it. You didn't want me to get it.
Al was very rumored to be tied to the mafia. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know.
He was friends. I think he wasn't tied. He was friends.
Okay.
I seen it all.
Okay.
It was just friends. That was it.
Okay, yeah. I don't need to be in trouble here. I just kind of.
I met a lot of them friends, man.
Okay. So either or. So that happens. So now you after the fight's over, and I remember you being on WFAN, the radio show in New York. right before that fight, I thought there was something wrong. I didn't know what it was, but it just didn't seem. You seem confident, but you're just like, "Hey, I got 2 hands and a heartbeat, just like he does." I remember that quote that you said, "So give me the shot," and then obviously it didn't go your way. But even
Right.
looking at the fight, I looked at it yesterday. Going to the ring, you looked a little different. You just looked different.
Yeah.
Whether it
I
was like,
knew I didn't have my bread and butter punch.
mhm.
I knew I did it, and I knew I was going against not only the best fighter, but he had the best trainer in Georgie Benton.
Yeah, Georgie was good.
I mean, so now I got 6 losses on my record. 4 of my losses are to Georgie Benton.
Oof. That's tough to swallow. That'd be tough to swallow.
Yeah. So
Let me ask you this: so when you got in the ring with Purnell, did you have was it what was that? Was that moment like, holy crap, I'm in here with Purnell, or were you
no,
just like, hey,
not
they're
at
the
all.
same people? Okay,
Not at all. Not at all. I'm
wow.
like, I'm better. I said to myself, I'm better than this Mamma Jamma. I just got to figure out a way to land my left hook.
Only because I say that because he was you didn't get as much press as he did. He got the press as the best there was at the time. You didn't get
You got to
that.
remember, he was a gold medal winner.
Yep, 84.
You know what I'm saying? Man, he beat a lot of good fighters, man. In the
He was
lightweight
hard to
division,
hit.
he was beating everybody.
Yeah.
So
And I
look,
will tell you at that fight, I wanted you to. I did. God bless his soul. God rest his soul. I love Arnold Whitaker. Yeah, I wanted you to win so bad. That fight, I could remember that fight. I said, please, because he was beating everybody. If there was
yeah,
one guy who could beat him with a great jab, was Buddy Mcgirt. And I said,
right.
I think Buddy gets a shot here to beat this guy. It just didn't pan out. And I obviously I thought something was wrong going in, but you wouldn't know till years later. Well, for
Georgie
us,
Benton told me after the fight, his favorite word was motherfucker. He said, motherfucker, you almost ruined my masterpiece with one arm.
yeah. No, think
Like
about
Georgie
that.
knew. Georgie, listen, I love Georgie. And listen, I got nothing against anybody, I could have pulled out, but I couldn't pull out the last minute. That just wouldn't have looked good at all. So, it is what it is. It's a learned experience, you know what I mean? So you keep it moving.
But you did get your chance. You did get your chance to get the rematch.
Yeah, but by the time I got the rematch, like after the fight, a guy from HBO,
It was Kerry
damn, I
Davis.
can't- no,
Lou
Kerry
DiBella.
wasn't even there then.
DiBella.
No, Seth Abraham,
Seth Abrams.
another guy.
The guy who I forget his name. He kind of destroyed it. Mark, was it Mark? Jewish guy.
Not Mark Tafford.
Nope, it was another. I forget his name. Not Seth Abram.
This guy anyway. This guy called out on Sunday morning and got my number and called me. And he says, buddy, I got a doctor I want you to go see. On a Sunday, he called me that Sunday after the fight.
Okay.
And I went to New York and I met the doctor, Dr. David Allcheck. And he works with the baseball players. And he did the surgery and he said to me, you'll never fight again, sir. He says, your career. He goes, if you do fight, he says, it'll be a year before you fight again. So I said, I had no problem. But I'm saying to myself, that's not going. I fought 6 months later.
Wow.
I fought 6 months later. And Ross Greenberg.
That's it.
That's the guy's name, Ross Greenberg. He recommended Dr. David Allcheck for me. I fought 6 months later. So I fought 6 months later. I fought Nick Rupert. 1994 now. I fought Nick Rupert.
Yep.
I fought
Hughes right after that.
Jesse James Hughes. Then I fought Livingston Bramble.
Yep.
Kevin Pompey. Pat Coleman, and then Purnell and
Whitaker again.
All in 1 year.
Yep.
All in 1 year now.
Wow.
All in 1 year. Yeah.
Holy cow.
All in 1 year. I had all those fights in 1 year. Wow. And because I fought Nick Rupert October, I believe it was October of 93. I had the surgery in March. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We fought. But then I fought Jesse James Hughes in January.
January.
Then I fought Livingston Bramble in April.
April. Yep.
Then I fought Kevin Pompey in
June, right?
June.
Yep.
Pat Coleman in August. Pernell in October.
Holy cow! That's a
So now,
you went to a gamut there.
after the Pat Coleman fight, I was in the dressing room, and Al said, "You got the rematch with Pernell." And I don't know, but that day, everything left me. The thrill of fighting, everything just left me that day.
The day you got the contract for Whitaker?
No, the day in the dressing room after I beat Pat Coleman, I was sitting in the dressing room, me and my wife, and Al came to me and goes, "Kid, you got the rematch with Pernell in October." And everything right there, the hunger, the desire, everything right there just left. Boom. Left.
Why was that?
I don't know. And I started crying. So my wife's like, "What's the matter?" Says, "What the hell are you crying for? You got good news." I said, "I don't want to fight no more." And she's like, "What?" I said, "I don't want to fight anymore." She goes, "Why not?" I said, "They said I couldn't do it. I did it in a year. Fire's gone." I mean, so I go home and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna fight. And then about 4 days later, I get a letter in the mail from Uncle Sam.
Oh, that's never good.
That shit is like a notebook. He said,
"Hey, don't feel bad. I got one too, and it wasn't good."
They said, "Mr. Mcgirt, you owe us some money, sir."
They're usually not too nice, though, to those people.
No. So they said, "Well, you owe us some money, and we would like to have a chat." So I went down to the IRS office, and the guy's name was Jack Smilo. He said to me,
"You keep receipts."
Oh yeah. He said to me, so Jack Smilov said, "No one comes to the IRS office." I said, "Sir." I said, "I mean, you send me a letter like that, I gotta come here." And I worked out a deal with them after every fight, So after that, I was just fighting to pay them off, to keep them off my back, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, they said they hit me with an expense report. I'm like, "Hold up, man, I didn't get all that. I didn't get all that money." You know what I mean? But it was a learning experience, and but after the Pat Coleman fight, the desire to fight left me. It was gone.
Well, usually,
they said I couldn't do it, and I came back in 1 year and was able to get a title fight again against Pernell.
Right. And so you kind of once you reach it's always not that it's easy. It's easier to get there. It's the maintaining it is the hard part.
Yeah.
And I've so many people, even businessmen.
I was just tired, man. It was a long road back, coming back. You got to remember in 1990, I had a ruptured bicep tendon.
Oh, yeah. You actually finished the fight.
And they told me that I wouldn't fight again. So I had to come back from that. You know what I mean? And within a year, I fought for the title again.
Now, did you tear that from the shoulder, or did you tear it from was it a long head or a distal bicep?
It was from the elbow.
Oh, that's the one I had.
In the 4th round against Jose Bermudez.
Yeah, you finished the fight.
Yeah. But I felt like, when someone gives you a knuckle, you feel like you got a Charlie horse?
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
I thought I had a Charlie horse. So I said, "Al, I got a frog in my arm." He's like, "What the fuck is a frog?" I said, "I got a Charlie horse, man. Rub it out." So each round he's trying to rub it out. But then after the fight, my friend whispered in my ear, he goes, "You got a fucking ruptured tendon, man."
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I thought I went for a left hook to the body, and I thought he pulled his elbow down and hit me right in the arm. And then when I went back, my brother said, "Holy cow!"
I went to throw an uppercut. I'm to throw an uppercut, and my shit froze midway.
Yeah, well, yeah. You look at it, and it's weird when you look at it because it's really big. And I was like,
then I had to fight 6 rounds, and I pulled it off. Thank God.
Yeah, it was weird. I tried to jab, and you couldn't turn it. It went up. It went up, but you can't turn it. And I said,
Nah,
"This is not good. This is definitely not good."
it's
So,
painful, man.
it was
painful.
painful for a very, very quick second because it tears right off. And I just thought,
Yeah.
you know what? I'll ice it and it'll be good. And it didn't. It had to get.
I
Had to get
drove back to Long Island from Atlantic City,
Mhm.
and they called the doctor, and he came. He was in the movie theater, Mr. Dr. Marzak. He came to the hospital to see me, and he said, "You can go home,
Mhm.
come back tomorrow, and you're gonna have surgery on Tuesday."
Yeah.
And he had the
And that was
surgery. He looked at me and he said, "Young fella, you got to take a year off." I said to myself, "Shh, not me, brother."
can't do it.
Nah. Then a year later, I was fighting for the title again.
Yeah. So I mean, again, your determination again, going back to when you were an amateur and you were traveling, and then even when you first started traveling those 6 hours is that's unheard of. That's someone who's going to make it. Put it that way. That's someone who's going to make it. So, for sure. So you
Right.
after that. So after the Coleman fight, you say everything sucked out of you. You fight Whitaker, you lose. Wasn't close as the first one. Well, honestly, it
No,
wasn't.
well, he beat my ass. He beat my ass.
Okay.
I mean,
All
I'm
right.
a realist, man. I'm a
Okay.
realist.
It wasn't the greatest. But you
Listen,
did.
when I knocked him down and he got up and I saw him bouncing, I said to myself, I'm in for a long fucking night.
Mhm. Yeah, no, it was. I could say it was too. Yeah, but you said it first, not me.
I said to myself, I'm in for a long night. That when he went down, I said,
Mhm.
please don't get up. But that was it. I was done. But
Right.
he got up and I saw him bouncing. And then when the referee said box, he walked straight at me. I said, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could tell it.
I
At that
was
point,
like,
you knew. But you ran off a couple right after Whitaker's fight, and then you lost
yeah,
to Anthony.
I did, but it wasn't the same,
No.
the fire wasn't there. It wasn't there, man. It was just I was doing it for the wrong reason. So it took
Mhm.
it made it even worse because you say, okay, I'm fighting and I'm getting say 50,000. I had to give over half of this to the fucking government.
Yeah, and that was on top of just the regular taxes coming out.
Exactly. So it's like, fuck, man. It's like, why am I doing this?
Here's another thing that people don't realize either. You're 1099, so it looks great when they give you the check, and then that's on you to pay the taxes. It kind of
Exactly.
that's hard.
Like the first, I never forget when I had my first big fight when I fought Frankie Warren, and they said, you got to send 20,000. I said 20,000. Yeah. I sent 2,000. I said, I'm
Oof.
not going to send 20,000.
The IRS
I
don't
was
take
just,
discounts.
I was in my early 20s. I'm like, man, I'm like, what? I said, man, I'm not sending. But you live and learn. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Now I pay. Boom. No questions asked.
and that's James. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Because
Now they said, buddy, you got to pay this. Boom. Here you go.
that's it. No,
No
and
questions
you're
asked.
1099 now too. Also training.
Yeah.
Obviously. So let's switch gears. Let's go into your training because the career ends. You lose a decision, I believe, or no? I think you were unanimous decision. You lost your last fight.
Right.
And what made you say I'm going to go into the training?
I'm going to be honest with you. I started boxing January 17th, 1976, right?
Mhm.
My birthday, my 12th birthday.
That's the year I was born.
Damn. The next day, the very next day, I wanted to be a trainer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very next day, I wanted to be a trainer. Because I
Hmm.
watched how the guy was training us, and I loved the fact of using my mind and teaching someone to use their mind to
Mhm.
outsmart another person. I mean, that like really fascinated me. That like really. So when I used to read boxing books, I used to read more about the trainers than the fighters.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then like as I was getting older, if I saw an old trainer in the gym, I would sit and pick his brain for hours.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I mean, I would sit and talk to them for hours. Ex-fighters, hours I talk to them. Just picking their brain. How did you do this? What did you do this? How did you run? How did you hit the bag? How did you I was 12, 13. Listen, my whole life, when I was a kid was boxing. Once I started boxing, was boxing, man. I tell everybody the story. used to go to the library in town, the Brentwood Library. And I should take out a book. It was called The Heavyweight Champion. You know,
Okay.
and I was fascinated by the book. I read the book maybe 1,000 times. So
Right.
one day I took the book out the library and I took 2 pictures out of the book. And I took the book back and I waited a couple weeks. I went back again and got the book. Took a couple more pictures out. Took the book back. So I go back the 3rd time. I can't find the book on the damn thing. So as I'm walking out, the librarian said, "Young man," I said, "Yes." She goes, "Can you come in for a second, please?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "You looking for this?" She had the book behind the counter. So I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Do me a favor." I'm like, "Sure." She goes, "Take the book home and keep it. You can rip all the pictures out." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Young man, I know you rip pictures out." She goes, "I
Right.
wish you the best." And she gave me the book, man.
Wow.
She gave me the book. She goes, "Take it home, keep it. You don't have to return it." Because that was the only book I would take out the library. If it
Right.
wasn't a boxing book, I was not reading it.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I used to fall asleep reading the books, and my mom worked nights, and she'd come up in the room and cut my bedroom light off because I'd be sleeping reading it. I read the same book over and over and over and over and over, and then I'd take a pillowcase and put it in the backyard, hang from the tree. You know, when the days the gym was closed, I'd go outside and hit the pillowcase. I used to do a lot of crazy shit as a kid. You know what I mean? Pertaining to boxing, teaching myself how to fight.
So you really, when you got this book, or let's go to where you're now looking to be a trainer. Did you even know where the inwards were, or did you say, "Well, how am I going to do this? How do I get a fighter?"
No, I used to work with amateur. When I was fighting, I used to work with amateur fighters in
Okay.
between fights. I go to
In
the gym and help all the kids. I help the kids. I don't go to the gym. I mean, and then I had one kid named Andy Colon. God rest his soul. He passed away. He made it to the Golden Gloves finals.
Okay.
You know what I mean? His name was Andy Colon, and I was training him. In between fights, so it was a good experience. It was a lot of
Mhm.
fun.
Right.
I mean, working with the kids, and but that's something I always wanted to do was be a
And then
trainer.
and then where'd you get your first break as a trainer?
My first big break as a trainer was Don King gave it to me.
Okay. Now, if you could, I know that story, but I want you to tell it as it happened.
No. He gave me James Page, who was welterweight champion of the world.
Oh, James Page. Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow. I like James.
He brought me to camp. Me and Jamil McCline.
Oh, big time Jameel
Yeah.
McCline.
I was training big time McCline, and Don King gave me a job, and they was on the verge of signing Jamil. So I was training Jamil. So we went to Florida. We was training in Florida, and then James Page fought on the first Lennox Lewis Holyfield card in the Garden. He fought a kid out of Atlanta,
Mhm.
and after that fight, uh, Bobby Goodman, and Don King called me and said, "You're gonna train James Page for his next fight." I was like, "What?" They said, "Yep." And they gave me him. He was champ. And then I was training Oliver McCall. And then they had a guy named Byron Mitchell.
Oh, I know Byron. Yep.
Like Carl King calls me and says, "Hey, I need you to get to Vegas this weekend." I said, "Okay." So I get to Vegas on Saturday. And he goes, "Look, you're going to be training Byron. He's fighting for the title." I said, "When?" He said, "Next week."
Oh, jeez.
So I said, "What, Carl?" He goes, "He's fighting Manny Siaka for the WBA Super Middleweight Championship next week.
Mhm.
You got 5 days to get it ready."
What the hell happened to his trainer?
I don't know what happened, but I know is that we did mitts in the Mandalay Bay gym from Sunday till Friday. We didn't go to a boxing gym. We had no sparring. We just did mitts every day. And then Manny Siaka was beating him. And I said, "Look, man, it's the last round. If you're going to fight like this, I'm going to go to the dressing room." And he knocked Siaka out with like 15 seconds left in the fight. He
Wow.
knocked him out. He knocked him out in the last round. Knocked him out.
Mhm. So,
And then after that, then I was training guys for Don King, and then the late Johnny Tapia called me.
okay.
I trained him for his fight with Cesar Soto. He stopped Cesar Soto with a body shot. And by that time, I was training Tarver. I was training Antonio Tarver. And then I came back from Vegas after Johnny's fight, and I was getting ready to train Tarver for a fight. And Tarver was getting ready to fight Reggie Johnson.
Okay.
And I ran into Arturo in the gym.
Okay. If I
And
could
then
go
I had
back,
Tarver and I had Arturo.
yep,
And
that's when
I
it really
mean,
that's when it really took off. If I
yeah,
go back
and
to
Tarver beat Reggie Johnson. I mean, and
yeah,
I had Arturo fought Teron Millette on the Vernon Forrest Sugar Shane Mosley 1 card.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was my first fight with Arturo with Teron Millette.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Everybody's like, "Yo, man, Millette's gonna knock him out." I said, "We'll see." And he wound up knocking out Millette in the 3rd round.
Now, how did you know? Real quick, I wanted to go back real quick to Johnny Tapia. How was training him? Because he was a little off the wall.
You know, I love God bless him. I love
Yeah,
Johnny.
he just had so
Teresa,
many opinions.
hard worker, man,
Yeah.
and a great guy with a big heart. If
Mm-hmm.
he liked you, he'd go to the end of the world for you.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't like you, you know it.
I know.
You know what I mean? He should call me Brother Love. Brother Love. Yeah. But I spent a lot of time. A lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, like we would train in the mornings, and then he was living in Vegas. And one day he goes, "Yo, you like to play basketball?" Teresa asked me. I said, "I'm not the best, but sometimes I like to play." She goes, "Well, Johnny likes to play basketball," and they had just bought a new house. So I looked outside and it said basketball court. I'm like, thank God. Shit, I came back the next day. There was a basketball court put up.
Oh.
So we trained. After we trained, Johnny go shower, rest a little bit. Then we go outside and play basketball for an hour or two.
Wow.
In the Las Vegas Heat.
Oh.
And then after that, then we go eat dinner.
Uh-huh.
And then they take me back to my hotel. And that was the routine for 7 weeks, man.
Wow.
But it was great, though. It was great. I mean,
Yeah, he seemed like it just seemed like he just had just those demons he couldn't beat. And
yeah,
other than that, I've never heard anything outside of
great
boxing
guy.
as that he was a
Great
bad
guy.
guy.
Great guy. I loved him, man. He brother love. I said, brother love. He used to call me late at night because he couldn't sleep at night.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be up all night. He'd call me, brother love. What you doing, brother love? I said, well, Johnny, I wasn't sleeping, but what's happening? I mean, and he's very competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like one day we was doing mitts in the gym, and he forgot to put the gym was in his garage,
Okay.
and he forgot to put the air on to cool it off before we started.
Mm-hmm.
So we both in there. I'm saying to myself, I'm not quitting. He's saying this stuff. He's not quitting. So we're doing the mitts, and we both sweating, look like we're about to die. And Teresa walks in. She goes, "Are you guys nuts?" She goes, "It's like 200 degrees in here. Turn the air on." Johnny said, "No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't let Brother Love think I needed it." I said, well, "I couldn't do it." You know what I mean? Deep down inside, I was like, shit, I'm dying in here.
I know. So now you get Arturo. And this is the one thing that I've noticed about how you train people. You take what their best attributes are, and Arturo was a banger. He could punch, but he also could box. The problem I thought Arturo was similar to what Holyfield. You could when he would go trainer to trainer to trainer. Oh, he's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. The second he gets hit, it's all out the window, and Holyfield goes to fight. Similar to what Arturo would do. But here's the difference. You changed him. And Arturo's career was extended longer than it should have been. He took a lot. So take me through the dynamics of Arturo, training Arturo.
Well, it was like this. We started, and I said, "Look, man," I said, "I know you can box. You just don't use it." He goes, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, I saw you fight once on Tuesday Night Fights, and you box very well." I says, "But the problem is you get caught up with the crowd with the one-punch knockout comebacks."
Mm.
I mean, I said, "So now," I said, "ask yourself one question. When you're done training, do you want to go play golf, or do you want to go back to your hotel and put ice on your face?" He goes, "I want to play golf." I said, "Well, if you listen to me, you can go play golf every day. But I says, understand this: when you start slugging, I'm stopping the round. I'm going to start it over, and the round will not finish until you do what you're supposed to do. So we can have a 3-minute round or a 20-minute round. I said, the choice is yours. And he said, okay, doke. So after a couple of days, no problem.
Okay.
I mean,
How did you keep him on track, though? Was it just that?
sometimes you got to challenge these guys.
Mhm.
You know, like one day he was sparring. I said, listen, I says, if you give me 50 jabs in the first 3 rounds, I says, you have off tomorrow, you can go play golf. He goes, Coach, I'm going to give you 50 jabs in 2 rounds. I said, if you give me that, I says, but his hand was bothering me. He's having problems with his hand. I said, if you give me that within 3 rounds, I said, you can take off the rest of the day and take off tomorrow. And he came out, and those first 2 rounds, he threw 50 jabs. When he got done with that 50th jab, he took off his gloves. I said, I'll see you in 2 days.
That shows to your intelligence of how to get into a fighter's brain, because boxing has been so much mental. And that's some of the things I try to teach my young guys.
It's, you know, you got 4 guys in camp. That's 4 different personalities you got to deal with every day for 5 or 6 weeks. You know, a guy comes in, he's in a bad mood. I ain't got to trying to find out, okay, now, how can I make this guy do what I need him to do today? I mean, without him giving me a hard time.
Mhm.
So what I would do was I would let the fighter start the conversation, so I can have an idea where his head is at.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And then, like, I elaborate on a little bit. That's okay. I got to make a joke. I got to say something out of this that's going to make him laugh. I mean, and then I'll say something stupid. If I see him smirk or laugh, I'm like, I got him.
Yeah. You know what? This is what I mean. Okay, because I'm looking at some of these coaches as my kids are going through the different sports. And what I struggle with is when coaches you have to be a therapist. Especially all the crap that's going on in this world now. You really, what you just said, how you have to take each individual one, look at them and say, okay, this guy, you might be able to yell at. This one, you need to pat a little bit. But that's how you, Buddy Mcgirt, gets the best out of your fighter.
Right.
Is that something that you just have inside of you, or is that something that was taught to you?
You know, it's funny. I had dinner that night with a guy who talks to people on their jobs about this. He goes, buddy, it's a gift. He goes, it's a gift to learn how to deal with certain people. But I think it's a gift. But I think that my upbringing, dealing with certain things as a kid with family members, enabled me to know how to deal with people. Because you can have the gift, but you still got to know how to execute the gift. So if you don't execute it right, you can have serious issues. You know, I had a brother, God bless, he's deceased now, but I had a brother, man, that had a temper that was out of this world.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. So you're saying you had a brother that had a bad temper.
And my brother would get mad, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Only person in the house could contain him was my mom.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I figured out how to deal with it, you know. And there'd be times like his friends would come get me and say, yo, you got to come get your brother in the bar. He's getting ready to get in the fight. And I get in the bar, I was like 14, 15. I go to the bar, my brother's inside, you know, get ready to kick somebody's ass or get ready to hit him in the head with a bottle or something, you know. And I used to walk around, like, say if he had someone against the wall, I'd walk and make eye contact with him. I mean, he'd be like, what? What the fuck you want? Like, yo, come on, man. I mean, then I get his attention. And then if I see him, like, relax, I'm like, okay, I got him. And I tell the other guy, I'm going to grab the bottle. When I grab the bottle, don't say shit, just fall ass.
Yeah.
And I grab the bottle, the guy will leave, and I see him, man, what are you doing? He's like, man, fuck me. He'd be going off, you know. I'm like, yo. I said, what do you think mommy's going to say? So if you mention my mother, he was scared of my mother. My mother worked nights. I said, what do you think mommy's going to say tomorrow when she comes from work and she hear about it? He said, man, you can't say nothing. I said, well, then let's go home.
Yeah.
I said, if you stand to get in a fight and get in trouble, mommy's going to know. Mommy's going to come home. Then what? He said, all right, man. And then he grabbed me. He called me headquarters because I'm a big head. And then we walk on. Then we'd walk home. But it was stuff like that I had to deal with as a kid. I learned it. Like some days he'd come home on a rampage, man. He would want to kick everybody's ass in the house. You know what I mean? You had to be able to see, yo, man, yo, Mike. What? I said, man, with him, I had to make eye contact.
Okay.
I had to make eye contact. Because sometimes I had to do it like if you're sneaking up on a snake. But I go around. No matter what he was doing, I had to get him to look at me.
Right.
And if I can get him to look at me for like 5 seconds, I said, I got it.
Right.
But like if he turned his head, that's okay. He's trying to avoid me.
Okay.
Then I'll say something stupid to make him look up at me. Then when he looks at me, that's okay. I got him. I knew how to get his attention with stupid sayings. You know what I mean? And he look up at me like, what the fuck you want? I'm like, yo, come on, man. And I just start talking to him. What's going on, man? He'll tell me what's happening. Like, yo, you can fix this easy, man. Come on, we can take care of this tomorrow. Right. Stuff like that. And he'd be like, nah, man, this motherfucker. Yo, come on, man. If you beat the guy, you ain't gonna get nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That gift that you have for that has translated into your training. I go to your Gotti situation. Was that your main guy that you said, I'm going to take this guy so that this is your masterpiece now? Because you trained people along the way. But Gotti was one of those ones that had a certain style, a certain way he fought. Now they've really turned to you. Pat Lynch is basically entrusted you to say, make him a world champion. Is that the guy that you look at and say, this was my proudest guy that I put on the map?
No, I'm not going to say that because I had Johnny Tapia.
Mm-hmm.
I had Oliver McCall.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Oliver was. I can't listen. All I can say is this for Oliver. I love Oliver. Great human being. Big heart. But sometimes he would get in those moods, man. And I'm like, this is a big dude, man. He'd look at me and I look at him, but we just had a certain rapport, man. He would look at me and I look at him and I'd be like, Oliver. He'd look at me like, what? Like everybody ran. And he'd be like, what? He'd take off his shirt, what? It's Oliver. He's like, what? I said, talk to me, man. About what? I said, what's bothering you? And he'll calm down. And then he'll tell me what's bothering him. You see, everybody would want to argue with him. You're gonna argue. Mm-hmm. You can't argue with a man like that. He said, talk to me, Oliver. Come on, champ. What, buddy, what? He goes, I'll talk to you if everybody's gone. So one day we was in camp in the hotel, man. Oliver went bananas, man. Everybody was like, "Holy shit, man!" People at the front desk were scared. You know what I mean? Because he grabbed the counter. He said he's gonna rip the counter off. I had to go up front. I'm like, Oliver, what's the matter? He looked at me. I kept my distance, but I got his attention. I'm like, "Yo, what are you doing, man?" And he was going bananas, man. I said, "Look, we can take care of that." He goes, "How?" I said, "Take a walk with me." Mm-hmm. Then he come in, walk with me, you know what I mean? And he trusted me. Then we started talking. He was like, "Come on, man, let's take a ride. Let's take a ride in the car." And I get him in the car and we go somewhere. Sometimes he freaking make me drive freaking to Miami from freaking West Palm. You know what I mean? But when we got back, he was back to normal. So I'm not gonna just say it was Arturo. It was a whole bunch of these guys, man. That you know what I mean? Fighters are strange animals, man.
Why?
I love them all.
Why couldn't Oliver McCall win the big one?
It's a good question, man, because he had all the talent in the world.
He had all the talent.
All the talent in the world, man. I really can't answer that, man. He had all the talent. But here's the crazy thing. He's very intelligent, Oliver. I spent a lot of time with Oliver. Very intelligent man. He's not a dummy. And he's very athletic. He can play basketball nobody did.
Yeah. He's very
talented. I mean? Very talented man, you know what I mean? I really can't answer, Like he tells me stories of stuff he went through as a kid. I was like, wow. I mean, and he would give me the shirt off his back. I mean, those guys, man, those guys are the best, man. If he get in his moods, you leave him alone. I mean, sometimes he get in the mood and he goes, listen, I don't want nobody around me that's going to be cursing. So I would tell everybody, stay away. And Carl King would give us our own car. Mm-hmm. No lie, give us our own car. And I let Oliver pick the music. But there'll be times he say, for the next 2 weeks, I don't want to hear no rap music. So, okay, no problem. They be like, yo, buddy, man. I say, oh, man, listen, if that's what's going to get us through the day, then it's going to get us through. I'm going to tell you a quick story. We get on the plane to go to Memphis. Oliver's getting ready to go fight. So he looks at me as we board in the plane and goes, hey, so what's up, Oliver? He said, isn't it kind of ironic? I said, what? He said, we're fighting for the king. We're going to the place where they shot the king. And it's the home of the king. This is his way of thinking now. Don King, Martin Luther King, I was president. Yep. This is his way of thinking. He goes, something's not right, buddy. I'm like, God, we can't do this on the plane. This is before 9/11.
Right.
So now we get on the plane now, and he's just like, he's paranoid now. He thinks something's gonna go wrong. So I said, Oliver, just listen to your music, and we'll be okay. He said, okay, I'm gonna trust you. So he put his earphones on. Then the lady said, sir, he has to turn off. I said, miss, listen.
Oh boy.
I said, I got it. Don't worry. She goes, sir, I said, miss. Before we take off, they'll be off. He's listening to it. He's in the zone. He's not listening to me and the lady. I said, miss, please, just let me handle it. She said, okay. So what do? I wait till we get ready to take off. I start a conversation with him. Where's he got to take his headphones off to talk to him? It was a stupid conversation. But I got him to take off the headphones. The plane takes off. The lady sees him with no headphones. She's okay. Now when we get to the right altitude, they say, okay. And he goes, buddy. He goes, that was a stupid conversation. I said, no, I just wanted to bust your chops. Then he put his headphones back on, and we had to go flight to Vegas, man.
Just that story alone shows me you're always outthinking somebody, and that's rare for someone who has fought on the highest level that you have. Only because you had 80 fights and you have all your faculties.
Do you know I was blessed, man. I was blessed. Man upstairs looked out. Man upstairs looked out for me. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I look at some of the guys I fought and trained.
Yeah.
I mean, so I was blessed, man. So I mean, I love helping fighters. I love helping people. Let me rephrase that. I love helping people. But in this business, I try to tell some of these young guys, you understand, man, you're making money now, but one day it's not going to be coming in like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I says, and if you change your way of living, understand that you got to maintain that. And when you're not fighting anymore and you're living like you're making $1 million, but you're not making $1 million. Now, you're making $400,000-500,000, but you was living like you had $1 million. So now you got to change your living. So what you should do is prepare for that and prepare for life after boxing.
Right.
Because it will end one day. I don't care who you are. Floyd at one time was making, 40-50 million a fight, and boom. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it happens no matter who you are, but it's what you do and what you get, what you make. I said I'll be the first to admit that shit. I went through my money like a hot knife through butter. You know what I mean? But God blessed me, and I came back as a trainer, and I was able to get back on my feet and do the right thing. When I was fighting, I thought it would never end. And one day I woke up, shit, it's gone.
And that's hard. It's really hard because when you have that, you think you're on top of the world. So it's not just buddy. It's not just you. It's everybody who makes that kind of money. And they get into a comfort zone. But I want to tell you where we met because I've never heard you tell this story, and I saw it firsthand. We met in 2004. You don't remember? It was at the Fernwood Casino. Well, actually, it was the Fernwood Resort in the Poconos. Okay, you had a fighter that was from our area. His name was Freddie Cadena, and he fought Jesse Feliciano.
Yeah,
I was front row. I think Freddie was 18-0 at the time, or 13-0. Hadn't lost. Feliciano only lost one, and Freddie was the favorite at that time. You were his trainer, and he took a beating. But I remember the end of the fight. Do you remember the end of the fight?
When he was sitting in the ring, we stopped it. He was sitting in the middle of the ring, and then
You stopped it. You stopped it.
yeah,
You're one of these fighters. You're one of these trainers who I will tell you care about. You don't care about going out in your shield. You're looking after your fighters. I saw it firsthand, front row, sitting right in your corner. I was sitting right in the corner, and I just remember you just start screaming for Greg Serb and the referee Steve Smoger. I remember that. And he slid off the chair
yeah.
right in front of you.
You know what made me call for them?
I
Because
don't know.
I was talking to him, and he went like this. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the hell is he looking at? And he was like, you see that? And I started screaming, yo, then that's when he fell off the stool.
Yep, I remember.
You know,
that.
I still speak to him, man. I speak to him. Matter of fact, yesterday he sent me a message.
Freddie, yeah. How is he doing? I know he had a rough he did some time there.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing really well now. He's doing. You know what?
Yeah.
I had a when I got inducted to the Hall of Fame. I had a party in New York, in Long Island, and I invited him. He came, man.
Oh, good for him.
He came and we had a ball, man. That's my man. I call him Freddie Fender.
Is there a story behind that?
There was a singer named Freddie Fender, man. So
no kidding. No, you know what's funny? Because when I was looking to see if Freddie was still around, I know he had a tough run there, and
he's on Instagram.
Is he?
He's on Instagram. Yeah, man.
I like.
The other day I had a post. I was like, yo, I had a head cold, and then he remarked, with your big ass head, that must have been a hell of a head cold.
Well, he still has a sense of humor. That was actually one of my favorite fighters coming up, Puerto Rican fighter, and it just was that was a rough fight. That was one of the roughest. And Feliciano ended up fighting a guy from here, Kermit Cintron, and Kermit beat him pretty good, which I didn't think would happen. That was good. So what do you see for Buddy Mcgirt here in the next 5 years?
You know what, man? I want to just as long as God keeps me healthy and wise, try to make as many champions as I could, but not just champions, but young men who, after they become champion, are going to live a good life and take care of their families, man. Take care of themselves, really. I've been through every aspect of this sport, man, that you could imagine. The highs and lows, no money, no money again, money. In 1993, they tried to say I had mob ties. I had to go before the Senate in Washington, D.C., testify. I didn't have no mob ties. You know what I mean? So I've seen it all, man. Unfortunately, I had a fighter pass away on me a few years ago. Max Dadashev, that was sad. So I've seen it, man, and I try to explain to these guys, that it's a short window in this game, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a short window. So when you get that opportunity, you got to take the ball. You got to take the ball and run with it. Because if you don't take the ball and run with it, you know what I'm saying? Then one day, there's nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? Then now, you're looking, okay, what do I do with my life? I got to honestly say that when I finally stopped fighting, I was in Colorado Springs training for a fight. And I was running around the lake. And I stopped running. And my friend said, what are you doing, man? I said, that's it. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what do you mean you're done? I said, I'm done, man. I'm going home. I'm not going to fight. And did I need the money? Yes, I needed it really bad. It's paying me $100,000. He's like, man, you stupid, man. What's the matter? I said, call me what you want to call me. I said, I'm done. And I went to my apartment I had in Colorado. I packed up my stuff. And I told my friends, I said, you guys coming? Or you staying? And they says, you'll be back because you need the money. I said, I'm asking you one more time. Are you coming or are you staying? And they said, buddy, we'll see you in a few days. I said, okay. I got my bag, called my wife. I said, yo, I'm coming home. And she was happy. She's like, but I said that to say this. That plane ride home from Colorado Springs to Newark was the longest plane ride of my life. Because I'm saying to myself, what am I going to do now? The money in my pocket is all I got. What am I going to do? I got a family. How am I going to? I got a house. I'm saying I got to figure it out. You know what I mean? And that was the longest plane ride of my life. You know what I mean? I got in the plane. I got to New York. Wife picked me up. Go home with the kids. And all the way home, we talking. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, what? How the hell I'm going to pay the bills next month? You know what I mean? That's not an easy thing. That when you got kids, it's not easy.
Nope.
You know what I mean? It's not easy. So, you don't want your kids to know that you're going through this hardships and shit. And to top it off, my family, my siblings, laughing at me. Now
They
the
were
same motherfuckers who I took care of, same motherfuckers who I put clothes on their back, the kids' back, food on their table, laughed at me. I mean, I'll never forget it. You know what I'm saying? So when I finally left and got to Florida and started training and started working my way up the ladder, then they want to call me and talk to me. No, motherfucker, don't call me that. When I needed it, you didn't call me and ask me that I needed it. Because they wanted me to call them and ask them for help. Something I was not going to do.
Yeah.
I refused. So I went home and I had a few cars. I said, I'm going to sell the cars, keep one car for my wife, and I kept my motorcycle. I had a motorcycle. Kept my motorcycle. I got rid of all my other cars. Took the money I got from that, put it away. Told my wife, you got a car, I got a motorcycle. So we're going to hang with this for the next couple of years until we get situated. That's what I did. They're like, oh, man, you crazy. Why'd you get rid of your car? Hey, man, I had to, bro. I had no choice. I could have kept it, but my lights should have been cut off.
Yeah.
So car, lights, car, food. No, the car got to go.
Now,
you know what I mean?
When you're married, you were married. You to the same woman?
Yeah.
Okay. That had to be also rough because the number one cause of divorce in America is money fights. It's the number one cause of divorce. That
You know what? I'm gonna say this on my wife's behalf.
Mm-hmm.
When I told her that day that I didn't want to fight no more, after the Pat Coleman fight, I said, but I have to because of the Internal Revenue. She said, listen, I'll work 3 jobs if I have to. She said, but we'll figure it out, buddy. She says, don't fight. If you don't want to fight, don't do it. When I went to Colorado to train for that fight, she told me, you're being selfish. I'm like, yo, we need the money. She goes, buddy, I told you, I'll work 2, 3 jobs if I have to. She goes, I know we can figure it out. She goes, I know you. She says, but I don't think you should be fighting. So she was relieved when I came home. And then when I started getting rid of the cars, she looked at me, she's like, what are you doing? I said, look, the money I get from these cars, you take it and you put it away. We got to live off this. I mean, I had some jewelry. I got rid of that. I had to do what I had to do, man. Just real talk. I bought myself a championship ring when I won my first time. I bought me my own. I got rid of that. I had to do it. So she was like, no, you don't have to do all this. I'll get another job. I said, no, we got kids, man. I said, I'm the man of the house. I got to do that. I said, I got to sell my ass on the highway. I sell my ass on the highway. But I'm going to do what I got to do to take care of mine.
Oh, well, then I could tell you that you have a great woman there.
Oh, thank you.
That's something that is very rare. I'm not trying to just because I'm divorced and then remarried. I'm not saying that it's rare that you have a quality in a woman that would stand by a man from going the top of the top to the bottom of the bottom and then back up. And you know what? To me, that you guys are still married, that means a lot to me as a person. That's a good woman.
We've been together going on 35 years.
Holy
married, we've been married 26 years. Been together 35 since we've been together since 1989.
Jeez, that's and that alone.
When she met me, I already had 5 kids from 3 other women when she met me.
Jeez, buddy. Okay, you were busy for those couple of years, but I mean, She's more well now that you said that, boy, she's like sainthood at this point. Wow.
So yeah, man. So she stuck with me through it all, man. She stuck with me through when we moved to Florida. I mean, Don King paid for my move to Florida, but we didn't know nobody. My wife's from Brooklyn. She's Puerto Rican. So, good. So when we left New York, she looked at me and she goes, "Where the fuck are you taking us?" I said, "Relax." So when we got off the highway in Vero Beach, she looked at me and she goes, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, "Relax." Now she loves it.
Yeah. Well, living in Florida is a lot better than New York in these times. I could tell you that. I mean, it's freezing out here.
She's like, "I'm gonna miss my family." I said, "Well, I'm not gonna miss mine."
And they'll visit. They'll come to visit at that time. They will at that time. But real quickly, I would be remiss not to ask you about this weekend fight. Devin Haney, Regis Prograis for the 140-pound supremacy. I mean, they're fighting for Regis's championship. What do you think about? How do you break down that fight?
I can't. It's hard to break it down because I haven't seen Regis fight in a long time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I remember the young Regis was a fucking beast.
Mm-hmm.
Was a beast, but I haven't seen him fight. Man, about 5 years.
Do you think something changed?
No, I don't know. I haven't seen him fight, so for me to make an evaluation on it, because Devin Haney's has been showing his thing, but I mean, I don't know how much Regis has left in the tank, so I can't make a prediction on that one.
Okay. Well, I thought I'd get you on that, but I don't know. Being your division at Supreme at that time. But buddy, what I wanted to say is I appreciate your time. Here.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we got mixed up there at the time.
No, don't worry about it, man. My pleasure. Don't worry about it. I apologize.
No, that's not my fault. You know what? One more thing I want to ask you, if you could. Zizo, I had him on here. What a great kid.
The Big Ziz. I call him the Big Ziz.
The Big Ziz. When's he fighting next?
That I don't know.
Okay.
He's here training, but I don't know where he's fighting.
Oh, that's right. You're in Liverpool. I keep thinking you're in Florida.
He's here. He's in Liverpool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I forgot.
I don't know. I don't know when he's fighting or what.
Okay. All right. Just curious about that. Because he's going to be a big thing. I think he's got a well-spoken kid.
Right.
Speaks very highly of you. And I said,
that's the man. The big Ziz, I call him.
The Big Ziz. Well, again, buddy, as a kid, I looked up to you. You were one of my favorite fighters.
Thank you.
I'm just a dumb bagel guy, and to have you sit here and talk to you, it means a lot to me that you would take the time and talk to someone like me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, man.
Hey, are you still in Jersey?
You know what? I moved to Pennsylvania. I go there.
Okay. Do you go to Piccolo's?
I do not.
I was there a year ago and I took my daughter to Piccolo's. Steak sandwich.
Yes.
She loved it. She's like, "Dad."
Still the best, right? Still good.
Piccolo's, yes.
I know. I just haven't been down as much because my vision's getting really bad. So the traffic, it drives me insane. I can't deal with it.
Okay.
Every now and then I'll get there, but I just can't. Now that I'm remarried, I can have my wife drive. So that's a positive. I just can't drive.
You got it.
I live in the middle of nowhere now, so it's good. All right, buddy. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
Take care. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching the Zapata Brand podcast. Please subscribe to the podcast and listen where all podcasts are available.